You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey folks, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered for Friday, January 4th, 2019. New jobs report, more than 300,000 new jobs reported for December. Sounds great, but guess what? Black unemployment is up, and Donald Trump is not talking about that at all. We'll break down the numbers. Also, a freshman congresswoman from Detroit makes it pretty clear she thinks Donald Trump should be impeached. She used strong language to talk about him. Oh, now Republicans and conservatives are all just clutching their pearls. How dare she curse when speaking of Trump? Even he was offended. So I guess he forgot when he called NFL players sons of bitches, huh? But it's all good. Yeah, we're going to break that thing down. Also, an update on the tragic slaying of a 70-year-old girl, Jazmine Barnes, near Houston. As we said yesterday, there's a sketch of the suspect, but no one is yet to be arrested. We'll give you the latest details in this particular story as well. Also, a black teenager dramatically improves her SAT scores, but the College Board thought she might have cheated. She's going to be joining us with her lawyer, Ben Crump. Also, folks, the Trump administration wants to roll back the rules that help protect people from discrimination. We'll talk with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund about that. Also, folks, R. Kelly documentary on Lifetime drew huge numbers last night. Lots of folks talking on social media. We will talk with the aunt of one of Kelly's victims, the singer Sparkle, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And also, my homeboy, Dr. Steve Perry, has a new talk show. He's here to tell us about this new show. Folks, it's going to be a jam-packed hour. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time. And it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin!
All right, folks, unemployment figures came out this morning, and the economy added a robust 312,000 jobs in December, and the employment rate ticked up 3.9%. Now, most economists credit more people looking for work with the higher unemployment rate. Now, of course, Donald Trump has been raving for the past year about how he's done so many great things for people of color, including black people. And every time he talks about that, he cites the unemployment number. Well, guess what? For African Americans, the unemployment rate was 6% in November, and it was 6.6% in December. In November, there were 1,219,000 African Americans out of work. In December, that number was 1,353,000 African Americans who were unemployed. Now, unlike the overall unemployment number, the uptick in African American unemployment was not caused, let me repeat, was not caused by more people looking for work. The number simply is up. Now, at his news conference today in the Rose Garden, Donald Trump came out talking about the numbers and talking about the job numbers and how it was great and how that, along with the Fed discussion from Fed Chairman Powell, caused the stock market to be up several hundred points. But I noticed one thing. He said nothing about black unemployment increasing. Let's talk about it with our panel. Dr. Cleo Monago, socio-political analyst, an activist. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president emerita, Bennett College. Eugene Craig, CEO, Eugene Craig Organization. Gene, I want to start with you. Oh, Republican talking points. Every time you see Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens and talking, all the people talking, it's always about black unemployment, black unemployment, black unemployment. But when black unemployment goes up, they get real quiet.
They have nothing to say. It just shows how disingenuous they were when they were just running around, just talking about the drop in black unemployment. These folk have no understanding of what black families go through. They have no understandings of the hardships that a lot of black families experience, and they have no understanding of the black economy in many of our black communities. And so, it is disingenuous for the president and his surrogates to tote the black unemployment rate when, at least on the surface, seems to suit their as a means to an end for them, but to completely ignore it when a lot of black families are struggling, and these statistics are showing that and reflecting that.
Julianne, I'm starting with this on purpose because every month these numbers come out. Folks focus on the overall number, but they never want to drill down into the numbers. And you have to drill down and look at exactly what is happening with African Americans. And again, Trump said nothing. I can guarantee you if the black unemployment rate had gone down, he would have said something in the Rose Garden taking credit.
No, there are a couple things, Roland. First of all, this month-to-month data is highly unreliable when you look at a subpopulation. The black population is a subset of the overall population. So we saw a 0.6% increase in black unemployment. Does that mean the end of the world? No, it does mean a trend, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't all fall on our swords. The more important number to me is the employment population ratio. This is a percentage of black people who are working. That number also went down. So, as you said...
Now, what does that mean? For the person at home who has to look at these numbers, what does that actually mean?
So the percentage of black... So as opposed to the labor force participation rate, which is the people who are participating in the labor force who are working or looking for work, the employment population ratio is a simple ratio. It's the number of people working over the number of people who are out there. And when you look at that, you see that going down, which means fewer black people are working. And so that is an immutable fact that your people... Candace and those.
No, no.
but that they refuse to glom on. So President 45, I can't even go call his name because I don't curse before the 7th of January. The first week of January, I try to keep it clean. So that man has always glommed on minuscule fluctuations downward, but has never ignored movements upward. And what we know is that while we think we're in the middle, we are in an economic recovery theoretically, although that's about to change. But while we see that in terms of some of the macro data, what we know is that the material conditions of the bottom 60% of the black population have not improved. And these data are proof positive of that. The bottom 60%, which means everybody.
Well, they haven't improved since when?
Well, they have not improved since, I would say, at least 2009. Although the number has come down. So the relative condition has never improved. Even when 45 started talking about, the lowest unemployment rate ever, that normalizes the fact that we should have a double rate
than everybody else.
Right. And that again, that to me is the thing. Every month when I see these numbers come out, but no one wants to deal with that critically important issue, and that is they go, oh, well, the black unemployment rate is double the unemployment rate. People then move on. They don't want to stop and go, hold up.
And why is that?
Why
is that? And what are we doing about it? Even under President Obama, as we saw improvement, we saw the unemployment rate drop under President Obama and the black unemployment rate drop. But let's not forget that at one point under President Obama, not his fault, but under his leadership, we saw stuff that was going up to almost 20%. Yeah. That's depression level rates, and nobody was willing to address that. And so now people acting like 6.6% is a good time.
Like it's a big deal, right?
That's why I asked you as of when you went back to 2009, because the implications, until you give the full context, is that Trump is the starter of this phenomena, and it preceded him.
No, well, first of all, the start of this was August of 1619 when we started for free. Yeah. And so, I mean, and again,
that's true.
but right. So first of all, this ain't Trump. This is America. It goes back to, again, the first moment you saw some black people looking around.
So Roland, as we say in black econ circles, the unemployment rate was 0 when we were enslaved. Yeah. And I mean, that's just
right, because we were all working. Yeah, we just no wages. But again, though, and that to me is where the conversation should always be. So not just, well, it's double. No. Why is it double? Don't just get stuck on it's double.
But you have to then deal with the issue of structural inequality, which is an issue that we have avoided all these. But
what I'm saying is, and our job is to force that conversation, which is why I hope these black people who keep showing up on these cable news networks, learn to ask these type of questions, because I'm tired of them sitting there going along to get along and not wanting to push hosts and push other folks on these questions.
They want to stay on those shows. So part of what you do, the deal you make to stay on most of these shows, is to accommodate whites and not even blow up.
Well, I ain't.
Well, I mean, I don't think that makes any sense, but that's the fact.
I understand.
We're moving to an extreme heavy election cycle. We're going to have, once again, the entire House of Representatives up for election, and third of the Senate, and we were electing a new president in 2020. Every person running needs to be addressing this issue. Needs to be addressing the issue of black inequality.
And be forced to do so.
But Eugene, do you honestly think, I mean, even so-called woke Democrats, and I say so-called woke Democrats, did not address this issue in 2016?
Well, who's holding them accountable?
Okay, here's a piece.
Who's what?
Again,
who's holding them accountable?
Hold up. You're not going to address it if nobody jams you up to address it. I'm just letting all y'all know who's running. I know y'all going to get asked by this person. Now, to the rest of y'all black people who run around here, talk about how you in media and you make all these best of lists and how you want all this sort of stuff. My advice to you is to ask these sort of questions. I got to talk about this issue here. Representative Rashida Tlaib is a brand new congresswoman from Detroit, and she had some choice words last night for Donald Trump at an event that was sponsored by MoveOn.org. Press play.
People love you, and you win. And when your son looks at you and says, "Mama, look, you won," bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't. Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the motherfucker.
Well, everybody all of a sudden clutching their pearls. Oh, my God, she said a 12-letter word. Donald Trump had a few words to say about this in the Rose Garden. And just go ahead and play what he said. Play what he said. Press play.
You can't impeach somebody that's doing a great job. That's the way I view it. I've probably done more in the first 2 years than any president, any administration in the history of our country. You look at tax cuts, you look at regulations, you look at what we've done for the vets, you look at the rebuilding of the military and the numbers that we're talking about, and many other things. I can give you a list. It's pages long. So I think it's very hard to impeach somebody who's done a great job. That's number one. And we even talked about that today. I said, why don't you use this for impeachment? And Nancy said, we're not looking to impeach you. I said, that's good, Nancy, that's good. But you know what? You don't impeach people when they're doing a good job. And you don't impeach people when there was no collusion, because there was no collusion.
Your comment about the freshman congressperson's comments specifically about...
Well, I thought her comments were disgraceful. This is a person that I don't know. I assume she's new. I think she dishonored herself, and I think she dishonored her family. Using language like that in front of her son and whoever else was there, I thought that was a great dishonor to her and to her family. I thought it was highly disrespectful to the United States of America.
Can we all laugh together? Come on, y'all.
You know what? I'm literally tipped to have a segment called "This Motherfucker." Okay, I just want y'all to understand something. She said, "Motherfucker."
Yeah.
All these folks are losing their mind. This is the same dude at a rally said, "Sons of bitches."
Huh?
A man who has cussed at numerous rallies.
No, a man.
Y'all go here.
A man who has said, "Grab them by the you know what," and so. If that's what you say, you disgraced yourself. You're a man who called his daughter a piece of ass, who called his own self-daughter a piece of ass.
Yeah.
So he has no moral high ground or even.
Did he stop Kanye from cussing in the Oval Office?
He enjoyed that.
Y'all go ahead.
He loved every ounce of it. The thing is this, right? We got to understand Rashida Tlaib's story, right? She goes from being kicked out of a Trump rally to now being a sitting member of Congress. I'm going to tell you something. If I go from being kicked out of a Trump rally to being a sitting member of Congress, I'm bringing every ounce of smoke for that motherfucker. We're going to pay for that shit.
You know, I'm
You
not
guys
going to
have
cuss on
horrible
air.
mouth.
But here's what.
I'm not going to cuss on air.
But Cleo, here's what. First of all, the show comes Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Oh, I know.
But here's what kills me about all this. All these folks running around as if this man has not said some of the most foul, nasty, despicable, racist, xenophobic stuff, and then it's like, oh no, I can't believe she said that in front of her kid.
You said in front of the world?
First of all, right? It's like he is the last person who should try to be claiming
Roland.
you shouldn't use language.
Roland Martin, this is the same country that after they kill a bunch of black people, white people will still say the cops are doing a good job. So you know that we live in a country, in a culture that has a parallel reality. Insane white people, but who are insane with a purpose for power. And
There you have it.
So we got to put it in context because this insanity is not just misdirected. It's so anything we can do to have power. And Donald Trump never makes any sense if you use logic and rationale as your frame of reference.
As a matter of fact, hold on.
It doesn't fit.
Henry, you see my iPad, right? I knew I had seen this somewhere, y'all, so you know I had to find this. So let me just go ahead and press play.
I think it's a disgusting thing that he said, and I could tell you I would not use that word. But it's political bullshit. She said he's a pussy.
They're ripping the shit out of the sea.
We can't get a fucking school built in Brooklyn.
You're not gonna raise that fucking price, you understand?
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them. Listen, you motherfuckers, we're gonna tax you 25%. What's the difference between a wet raccoon and Donald J. Trump's hair? A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion fucking dollars in the bank.
Well, I'm just saying, when you got video evidence, you might not want to be so pious. Go ahead, Cleo.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm being repetitive again. I knew about all of that, and it was genius for you to bring it up in our face so there can be no question about what a contradiction it is. But it's like, come on now. The only time Donald Trump tells the truth is...
Never.
But again, so Eugene, go ahead, Rob, real quick.
Is the interesting part of the story that's developing is the generational gap in the Democrat Party right now. Where you have the Democratic Party.
The what kind of gap?
The generational gap, where you have a lot of the older, white Democrats that are now, reassuming power as committee chairs and conference chairs, X, Y, Z.
Committee chairs, 5 African Americans, please. So it's not old white people.
No, stop. Finish your point.
My point is this, is that you have folk coming out and distancing themselves from Rashida Tlaib, whereas the younger members are backing her up on it.
Okay, but here's why this is dumb, okay? This is the problem. What this man has done has normalized indecency.
Yes.
And Trump, yes, Trump has normalized it. I'm not sitting here going, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. You know why? Because I've heard some members of Congress in conversation say, motherfucker. So I'm not going to sit here, and in fact, one of the greatest comedic routines of all time involved the word motherfucker. Bernie Mac, Kings of Comedy. But this also shows you the difference, Julian, in terms of how Democrats should respond. This is how Roland would respond if I am a Democratic member of Congress and a reporter said, Congressman Martin, how would you respond to one of your fellow members using an expletive to discuss Donald Trump? My response would be, what the hell is your point? What's the next question? See, my deal is you just like, whatever. Literally, say whatever.
That would be my answer is whatever.
That's all you got to say.
I mean,
whatever. No,
because the point of all of this, is that this man has, Mitt Romney, I think, perhaps said it best in his op-ed in the Washington Post on Tuesday, when he talked about how this man had no moral character, nothing, and this is a fellow Republican. No, he has no moral character, and the problem is that Republicans wanted what they wanted so badly that they allowed their values to devolve, so that they're now all in the swamp pit.
But the bottom line is
real quick.
But I can be
20 seconds. Go.
The bottom line is that Trump was Trump. Some of that stuff was before he was president. Or
Yes,
after
it was.
president.
It was before.
Trump has been Trump. And he was voted in the president. That dude.
So it's real simple. Democrats learn to say whatever. Okay, y'all. I got to give you an update on the Jazmine Barnes. Yeah, just say whatever. Okay, we have an update on the shooting death of Jazmine Barnes, the 7-year-old girl who was shot while in her mother's car on an early morning coffee run on New Year's Day in Houston. Now, police are circulating this sketch. There also there's a huge reward to find this particular shooter. Now, tips are being pouring in to investigators in the Houston area, but the gunman is still on the loose. Now, if you have any information on this particular person, what he's looked like, I want you to call 713-221-6000, 713-221-6000. Now, Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said, quote, we're not going to rest until we find justice for Jazmine. Now, there is going to be a Justice for Jazmine Barnes community rally tomorrow at noon in the Walmart parking lot near where she was shot at 5655 East Sam Houston Parkway in Houston. Again, it's going to be tomorrow at noon in the Walmart parking lot at 5655 East Sam Houston Parkway in Houston. So that's what's going on there. All right, folks, let's also talk about what's happening with the Trump administration rolling back civil rights. Now, companies these days rarely, if ever, say out loud blacks need not apply, but the reality is we still know discrimination exists. And there's a legal concept called disparate impact. It measures what discrimination is actually happening, whether in employment or housing or school discipline. Now, to force changes in policy by regulatory action or court cases does not require proof of intent to discriminate, just that it is indeed happening. Now, the Washington Post is reporting the Trump administration is planning to stop the use of disparate impact in determining whether there has been discrimination. Now, this obviously is a huge issue to folks in the civil rights community, and so we want to talk to Ajamel Qureshi, Senior Counsel for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And so please to tell us, again, for folks who don't understand disparate impact, how dangerous will this be if the Trump administration is successful in doing this?
Thanks so much for having me on today, Mr. Martin. At the end of the day, this is about how victims of racial discrimination have their rights vindicated. Do they have the right to go into court and essentially say, I've been discriminated against, and succeed in their claims? The Trump administration wants to go forward with a method that essentially would require individuals to prove what's called intentional discrimination. That is, the individual would have to come forward with a smoking gun email or recording or a document which essentially would say something along the lines of, I'm not hiring this person because they are black. The reality is that oftentimes those documents don't exist. And if they do, your average victim isn't going to have access to those documents. And the law recognizes that difficulty. And for that reason, the law has provided for a concept called disparate impact, which essentially allows an individual to move forward with their claim if they can show that a policy or practice hurts one group more than another.
And so if you are, so first of all, this goes beyond government. This has an impact on private companies as well, correct?
That's right. So disparate impact is a key concept that exists in various areas of the law. And the two areas in which it's very, very important, it extends beyond the government, specifically employment and housing. In those contexts, The Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, as well as the Fair Housing Act, prohibit actions that have a disparate impact by both the government as well as private individuals and companies.
And so what are you doing, what are others doing in the civil rights community to stop the Trump administration? Any plans to go after them in court?
Absolutely. So I think LDF, since the Supreme Court affirmed in the 1970s that this right to disparate impact existed, as well as in the housing context in 2016 when the Supreme Court affirmed that it existed in the housing context, we've been very active in pushing disparate impact cases and holding employers as well as the government accountable when they have policies or practices that have a negative impact on African Americans as well as other racial groups. I think in direct response to your question, I think the key thing that can be done right now is for Congress to act, for them specifically to affirm that there is a private right of action under Title VI, which provides that the government, as well as local governments that receive funding from the federal government, cannot take actions which also have a disparate impact. And so I think it really, we're going to be pushing the new House, but we certainly encourage the new House to take action on their own to affirm that individuals can go into court to allege violations of Title VI.
Let me ask you this other question here. Of course, the Supreme Court decided today to take up 2 gerrymandering cases in Maryland and North Carolina. Of course, in Maryland, the Democrats were gerrymandering. In North Carolina, the Republicans. Now, a lower court decision in North Carolina said the gerrymanders districts were done with surgical precision to disenfranchise African Americans. Now, we know the Supreme Court previously punted on the case in Wisconsin. What is going to be the impact, do you believe, on these 2 cases, them taking this up?
The key question, as you said in this case, is whether or not when a state draws its districts in a way that involves what's called political gerrymandering, that is, they draw their districts in such a way that it is to the benefit of one political party over another, whether or not that violates the law. Time and time again, the court has said that this isn't something they feel like they can address. The question is now, since the court is taking up these 2 cases, whether or not they're going to wade into the waters and decide there is a standard that can be used to decide this issue. The key thing that's changed since last time is that Justice Kennedy is no longer on the court, and he had indicated in various opinions that there might be a standard that can be used to control these sorts of practices. It's not clear that Justice Kavanaugh, who's replaced Justice Kennedy, feels the same way.
All right, then. We'll certainly be watching these 2 cases. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your time.
All right, folks, going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Lifetime's documentary on R. Kelly. We'll be back on Roland Martin Unfiltered in a moment.
Language today is not able to articulate the rights of the poor. Scholar Evelyn Brooks Higginbottom.
All right, folks, HBCU Giving Day. Our school is Clinton College, a Christian college founded in 1894 in Rock Hill, South Carolina. If you want more information or support Clinton College, go to www.clintoncollege.edu. That's clintoncollege.edu. All right, folks, last night on Lifetime, they debuted a 6-part documentary on the singer R. Kelly that is burning up social media. It is Surviving R. Kelly and tells a story of many of the women who say that they were victims of R. Kelly, some who say that he was involved with them, others who say involved with family members. It was a stunning first night. Nearly 2 million people watched it on Lifetime, and of course also was trending on Twitter as well. Here's an excerpt from the documentary.
Our daughter, Azriel Clary, has been with R. Kelly about 3 years now. She fell in love with someone that is a predator.
It's been almost 2 years, and we still haven't seen our daughter. We both was blindsided. We didn't know about the storm was coming.
My daughter, Dominique, has been in his life for 9 years. Any man that don't let their mother see their child see their mother, and she still living, you ain't got no heart. I'm not giving up. I'm not. My plan is just to go into the hotel. I know she's there. God didn't leave me here and then take it away. I came too close. Come on, we leaving? Come on. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
All right, folks. And my next guest, also, you saw her last night. She's a former protege of R. Kelly. Her name is the singer Sparkle. Here we go. First, play a clip of her from last night's documentary.
When the trial began, this was a big media event, so it was a real circus.
The prosecution, their entire case was the tape. R. Kelly and an underage girl having sex.
They turned down the lights and they put it on, and it's grim.
Like, you hear things, but to see it visually, and for her to be so young. My oldest brother did get on the stand, and he said that it wasn't her. It wasn't my niece on the tape.
Before the verdict came down, I saw Sam Adams Jr., who was sitting next to R. Kelly, turn to him and say, "We did everything we could." And the mood in the room was very much that he was about to be a condemned man.
The series everyone is talking about.
All right, folks. And again, joining us right now is Sparkle. Sparkle, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
It was hard watching this last night as someone who had to go through this up close and personal. How was it for you to see the reaction to the first two parts of this docuseries last night?
Wow, rough for you. It was really rough for me. Yeah, I had a bevy of emotions again. Angry, and to learn a lot more things that I didn't know. It was hard.
And when you talk about, first of all, there were things that you were aware of, there were other folks involved, but then also to see all of these stories meshed together, to see the other women, to hear individuals, men who were in his camp, talk of describing when his personal aide being at the wedding of R. Kelly and Aaliyah, and then hearing his brother who's in prison say, "Well, look, I like older women, and Robert, he likes younger women. That's just folks' taste." I mean, it was a whole lot to deal with in 2 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it will continue tonight. You know, the people involved and my involvement in it really was because I basically got the ball rolling with the tape of my niece being on the tape. Robert having taped them, filmed them, and then when I was able to view the tape via a lawyer here in Chicago, I called the authorities immediately. You know, I didn't wait a day, a second, an hour, even a year. I called them immediately.
And when you talk, first of all, I remember that period because I was running blackamericaweb.com and somebody had actually, that tape began to circulate. And somebody had sent the tape to our offices in Dallas. And so I remember it was unmarked. And so, you know, you get this tape and you pop it in and you're like, okay, say what?
What did you just see, right?
And you're going, okay, that's R. Kelly. And again, as somebody who was looking at this, instantly you're like, that's not a woman. That's a girl. And I think what a lot of people forget, and I've seen people already on social media saying that, well, he was acquitted. I was in Chicago for 6 years, and I ran the Chicago Defender. And when he was acquitted, people forget the jury did not say that was not R. Kelly on the tape.
Exactly.
What the jury said is they could not determine the age of the girl on the tape. His defense threw out that, oh, that was somebody who looked like him. No, the jurors were clear. That's R. Kelly. They couldn't ascertain the age of the young girl who we now know is your niece.
Yes. And you know what? What's unfortunate is there were 12 other people who attested to her age, and like her basketball coach, teachers. There were law enforcement in the suburb that we grew up in that came forward and testified. So even if they don't believe me, you know, these other 11, 12 people who aren't family, why not believe them?
You, in the clip we played, you which we'll see tonight, when you said that your brother testified, said no, it wasn't her.
Yeah.
And you clearly, even now, was stunned to even have to still think about that. One, is there a relationship there? Two, for the other people who continue to defend him, who you knew, who were in his camp, have you seen any of them, and have you said, what the hell is wrong with y'all?
Yeah, you know what? Luckily, I haven't seen too many of anybody because I'm kind of a loner and I kind of stay to myself. But as far as my brother is concerned, him stating that it wasn't her on the tape, in the very beginning when I called the family and then called the authorities, he said to me, I knew something was happening. And I'm like, well, dang, like, why you ain't clue me in? You know, because the wool's over my eyes at this point. I'm blinded by something that I'm not seeing, you know, clearly. So why didn't you clue me in? But, you know, at the end of the day, he said what he said. And, you know, now people see and know that, you know, what I said was real and was true. You know, I stand by my truth. And I've been saying this since the tape surfaced. And even before the tape surfaced, I went to the authorities and had them to look in on my niece and my family because, you know, my hands were tied. And basically they told me that there's not too much I can do because I'm not her mom or her dad, you know, just an aunt. There, you know, I have limited, I guess, nothing I really could do.
People also, again, forget that it was 6 years before he went on trial.
Yeah,
so
they took it a long time.
And again, I remember watching the trial, and what I watched in terms of the coverage. And so what many people speculated was that because your niece, if I'm correct, she testified, didn't she?
No, she didn't testify.
Okay, but there were other young girls who testified, and the problem is they showed photos of them earlier, and jurors were sitting here dealing with the fact that, okay, I'm now listening to a who is now a woman, but you're trying to get me to think about her when she was a girl, and now they're having to deal with that as well.
Yeah. So, that was a little play on things, too. I think they drudge it out so long so that she could age, and that, you know, if they did show a photo, they'd be like, nah, well, I'm not sure. Okay, well, it looks like her, but I'm not really sure. So, yeah, you know, they had a game plan.
During this whole point, did your niece and her family remain in Chicago? Because I know there were other individuals, there were stories where folks were sent out, they were sent away, and there was one family that went to France that lived in a shotgun house in Chicago, and you're going, okay, I don't know how that vacation was paid for.
Mm-hmm. I don't know for sure. You know, you hear rumors, and you can't completely say that, you know, my family was in the country or out of the country. I heard rumors that they did leave the country, but they remain in the Chicagoland area today. However, you know, Robert had the resources to do a bunch of things, and, you know.
He couldn't stop this from being aired. We know for a fact that several of his representatives, his legal team, his publicists, all his folks left. And of course, he's had concerts that are shut down. The final part airs tomorrow night.
Yes.
What do you hope is next? Because again, he hasn't been prosecuted. He's never been convicted. And there are people, and there are lots of people out here, men and women, who still say, I don't care. I'm gonna listen to his music. I'm gonna go see him. What do you think should happen next?
Well, I hope that people will watch the rest of the series. I'm sure it's more riveting than the first 2 episodes. I haven't seen the episodes at all, so I'm watching it with everybody else, and I'm cringing, you know, to see everything that's happening, you know, with these young girls. You know, I'm not a survivor. I'm just speaking up for my niece. You know, even if she doesn't want to speak up for herself, or she can't, for some reason. I just wish that everybody would watch, take notes, moms, dads, with your young girls. And even there are middle-aged girls that are involved as well. So, you have to just be mindful of the predatory person that could sneak in and do these types of things to your kid. Because, hey, they could be standing right next to you, sitting right next to you. I wrote a song, that my new single out, We Are Ready, that is a part of the piece. And it's very moving, very heartfelt, very women empowered, very Me Too, time's up. And it speaks to the time. So I'm hoping that everybody watches and really take notes of what's going on. Our community, I mean, it's sad to say that, we will shun the victims or the survivors, if you will,
right,
and be okay with, I'm still gonna listen to him. I'm still gonna, whatever with him, because he's R. Kelly. Come on, y'all, come on.
Do you still have a relationship with your niece?
We have a relationship. This may have set us back. Recently I lost my mom in October, and it's just been a rough time for us. So hopefully, with God and we can get through this, again, I was estranged from them for 10 years because I spoke out. They didn't want me to speak out. So
when you say they, you meaning?
My family. I was estranged from my family for 10 years. We only started talking back again in 2011 when our parents' 50th anniversary was, and we gave them a big, to do.
Wow. And in all those years, you and your niece have not discussed any of this.
I still handle her with kid gloves because this thing is serious. Like, I don't want to be the one to, for her real breakdown. She's beautiful on the outside, but I know she's screaming on the inside.
Sparkle, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We'll be watching tonight and certainly tomorrow night as well.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a bunch. I want to go to my panel here. It's very interesting, Julian, to see these reactions. You had a young woman who was in last night's episode who said she and others saw R. Kelly having sex with Aaliyah. Aaliyah's mom puts out a statement today saying it's flat out not true. The woman and so-called backup singer in the forthcoming Surviving documentary that describes seeing, meeting, or even breathing the same air as my daughter, Aaliyah, yes, pull it up, please, is lying and is a liar. My husband and I were always on tour with her and at interviews in every place she went throughout her entire career. Whoever this woman is, I have never seen her before anywhere on planet Earth until now. These lies and fabrications cannot be tolerated and allowed to be spewed from the forked tongues of saboteurs of Aaliyah's legacy. My daughter only wanted to realize her dream of sharing her talent with the world and give her all performing on stage and in front of the camera for the fans she adored so much. She realized that dream thanks to those true fans who still love and support her legacy unconditionally to this day. Shame on all those involved in this project who thought it kosher to drag Aaliyah's name into a situation that has nothing to do with her today. Once again, this will not be tolerated. Sincerely, Diane Houghton. Yet you had the guy who was R. Kelly's personal aide who said, I was there at the wedding. I witnessed it. I forged the marriage license. There was also an annulment.
Denial is a horrible thing. I mean, this mother has got to come to grips with her abdication of responsibility for her daughter. And the only way for her to do it, frankly, is to cover up. I wasn't there. I don't know anything. What I do know is that, when there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a whole lot of smoke around R. Kelly and young women. And the fact is that so many people think it's okay to exploit women. And so many women have been socialized to use themselves as tools of exploitation. So many women believe that they use their sex and sexuality to get ahead, and there are many men who will profit from that. R. Kelly is a predator. I mean, I have no doubt about that. He is a predator of young women, and this is something that our community, Roland, has to really speak up about.
Cleo, I've seen a bunch of men attacking the sisters on social media saying he wasn't found guilty. This is an attack on black men. These are white folks trying to bring down black men. Black people should not be used against other black people. There are folks posting videos saying, I don't care, I'm going to still listen to his music. I don't care what you think. And all of a sudden, we've also seen other people in the documentary. Nelson George talked about it. He said, this is well known throughout music. He began to bring up other artists, whether it's Jerry Lee Lewis, whether it's Elvis Presley, whether it's Chuck Berry, Woody Allen. As somebody who deals with behavior, what do you say to black people? Like, forget anybody who's white in this whole, what do you say to black people having this kind of conversation in our community?
Well, first off, what's real clear to me is that the power of celebrity is pretty amazing. This dude said he believed folks can fly. And they have flown out of logic, common sense, and their capacity to discern what's good and what's bad. This man's concerts still sell out. But you ask me, how do I feel about black people who ignore that? I think that we need to understand that we live in a country that has taught black people to have a fear of irrelevance. And what I mean by that is that this country implies that we're not relevant. So when someone actually makes it to the heights of great relevance and success, they're really, really respected. And they're really looked up to because they've made it to the point of being profoundly relevant and successful, quote unquote. And also I think this is similar to what you were talking about, Dr. Malvo, is that what happens to women is considered, oh, well, they're women.
Especially black girls.
Especially black girls, but even black female adults. They're women. They're essentially not valued in a society. They should be glad to be there. And there's some men who have the perspective that you just mentioned in terms of they're trying to bring down a brother, who are thinking to themselves that they're trying to bring down a brother because brothers they try to bring down brothers. This is a very complex issue because the dude is guilty. I saw the video. I saw the video a long time ago, and it's him.
That was a girl.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A child.
Was 12
it was clear.
or 13
A child.
or 14.
But I wouldn't just...
No, the reason I'm saying girl, because a lot of people keep saying she was a woman.
No, you're right.
And I need to have a distinction.
That's important.
Because they kept, and people were going back and forth. I'm like, no. I'm like, I need y'all, even, they're like, well, Aaliyah was 15. No. She was still a teenager. She was not a woman.
But
these people are caught up in it.
But this girl
was grown.
Yes, grown.
This girl,
Cleo than Eugene.
This girl, Aaliyah, etc., are considered in some people's minds lucky to have been there
and disposable.
And in fact, some of the women in the video in the documentary talked about, look, I just wanted to build my career. That's what it was all about. Eugene, what we're dealing with, we're also dealing with a culture that highly sexualizes black girls.
Yeah.
This whole deal of, oh man, look at me, she stacked, she 14, 15. She 14, 15.
15. That's
okay. She ain't a woman.
Yep.
She ain't legal. She's a girl. She's a teenager. Eugene, go ahead.
It's a mess. I'm gonna just real quick rapid fire. There's a lot of trash men, a lot of trash black men that are defending R. Kelly. This is literally indefensible.
No, they're women too.
Lots of women.
But just in respect of what's going on in social media, of black men attacking women that are, coming at R. Kelly. This is, these aren't secrets. These are a lot of open secrets that's been known. Aaliyah's mom is in complete denial. You can't look at that clip of them in the BET segment. They're dressed alike, super flirty,
and won't answer the question, are y'all together?
You can't look at that and say, oh, hey, there's...
If I'm the mama or the daddy, hell no, they ain't together.
There's a lot of failing of the children that took place around R. Kelly.
Again, folks, second part of the docuseries, parts 3 and 4 airs tonight. And then the other final 2 parts airs tomorrow night. And shout out to Dream Hampton, producer on this, of course, a longtime journalist. And she said, bottom line is, she said, I got my eyes locked and loaded on R. Kelly. You also have the people with the Mute R. Kelly campaign as well. And so you got to ask yourself the question, not only his last piece, before I go to my next guest. In this documentary, they also broke down a lot of his songs, how they are specifically tied to him being with underage girls, being with, yes, as Julian said, children. So when people sit here and go, well, I'm cool with this song, no, trust me, there are meaning behind lyrics. Just understand that. Let's talk about another young black girl who is having to deal with drama. That is, she's a sister who has been working her butt off to prepare for an SAT test. She takes it the first time, doesn't do as well as she wants to, busts her butt hard, studies, increases her score by 300 points, only to have the organization that runs the SATs, the College Board, say, oh, those scores are not going to count, and you can't send to the college that you have applied to because you must have cheated. Well, that is the story of my next guest. She also, of course, reached out to Ben Crump. Her name is Camila Campbell, and she actually took the test. She said, I improved my score. She wants to go to Florida State, which, of course, is the alma mater of Ben Crump as well. Both join us right now. Camila and Ben, glad to have you. Camila, first off, when you got the second score and you knew you had improved it, how did you feel when you saw that number?
I called the representative and she told me the number in my ear, and I was like, okay, that's good. And then she said, well, but we believe that you had to have prior knowledge of the test because you jumped too far. So then I was like, okay, how does that make sense? And how do I move further from here? And she was like, well, we're going to be sending you a letter that we send to everyone, and you can send me your answer choice of what you want to do to go further from there. So then I was like, okay, this makes no sense. I was confused and I was mad because I did so much work to do better, and then you're telling me, wait, we don't believe you did that much.
Before I go to Ben Crump, if your social media is on, if you're on Periscope or Facebook or YouTube, if you can actually turn it off, because I'm actually getting the feedback from you. Ben, I want to go to you for the board to say they're not going to give her her score, and then that's absolutely crazy. And if they're going to accuse her of cheating, okay, what y'all got? Where's your proof?
Absolutely, Roland. Our message is clear. Release the evidence or release her scores now, because time is of the essence.
Hey, Ben, hold on 1 second. Is something else on? Is there a radio on or something? Because I'm actually hearing like something else. If you're on a computer, see if there's a window that's open. Because I'm literally hearing another woman talking. So I can barely hear you. So I just want to make sure that I want to hear both of y'all fully. And so that's what we're trying to do here. And so hopefully now we got it taken care of. So Ben, go ahead with your comment, please.
Okay.
That's better. Go ahead.
Okay. Roland, it is one of the most un-American things that I've ever seen. You're guilty until proven innocent. And on top of that, you are not given any specificities about the allegations against you. Criminals in America have more rights and due process than these teenagers who are taking this standardized test by this private corporation that has no oversight, Roland.
And first of all, has Florida State given any response to all of this?
Only that they are evaluating her application. They want to get whatever SAT scores that will be allowed, and once they get that, they will do the evaluation. The problem is this, Roland. This is the big problem, because once they fill their spots are filled.
Right.
And they're not going to hold back for Camila this spot once they're all filled.
And Camila, from your perspective, what do you hope happens next? And is also the part of the problem here is that if they don't allow you can't even send those scores to anybody else.
Can you repeat the second part of your question? I
said, what are you hoping to see happen next? Because you can't even send those scores to anybody else. So it's not just a Florida State issue. You can't send your second score to any university because they won't release it, correct?
Yes, correct. I'm hoping that my scores will get validated and released, because I really have to start sending them out and signing up for scholarships, and the deadlines are really just passing me by.
So this goes beyond just the university. You can't even use that score to apply for scholarships for anything else beyond admission.
Exactly, Roland. I mean, it's so detrimental to this young girl who did everything right, checked all the boxes, sacrificed, focused, only to be told you're not legitimate, you're not good enough. And we can't have this private corporation be the measurement of human achievement for our children, especially when they have no oversight, Roland. We were in Washington, D.C. at the swearing-in of the Congressional Black Caucus members. I hope that Congresswoman Frederica Wilson follows through on saying they're going to look into this, because there has to be some oversight to this private corporation that regulates so much of our children's future. It's like the nightmare reoccurring from the movie Stand and Deliver, where they did this to Latino children in Los Angeles.
Absolutely. Well, Camila and Ben, we surely appreciate you guys joining us, and good luck as you try to get justice, and also good luck in your college career.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roland.
All right, then. This. I mean, you talk about. I mean, Juliana, you a university president. This is. I mean, she's in limbo.
It's ridiculous because this is application time.
Yeah.
People are beginning to evaluate. You know, many colleges.
People were getting accepted in the fall.
Yeah, so many colleges have rolling admissions. As you roll the admissions, there are fewer and fewer seats left.
Yeah.
I want to congratulate the young woman for her persistence, because that's what people tell you to do. You have low SAT scores, you get with a tutor, you take the prep classes, and you go do it again. Already the system is skewed against low-income and moderate-income folks who don't necessarily have money for the tutors and all that. So she's done a good job. I saw something online, I was looking, and they said, well, her answers resembled those of other people's answers. Well, if they were all correct answers, yes, they resembled. I mean, they were supposed to resemble. These were correct answers. So the Education Testing Service and the College Board has a lot to answer for here, and there is a tinge, I think, Roland, of bias.
But no one holds them accountable. I mean, like Crump kept saying, there's no...
So like credit agencies, private companies?
Yeah. I'm wondering, I guess the file suit or the threat of it is to pressure them to do something, but they don't have to.
Well, again, no.
And they never do. In fact,
exactly.
You know, increasingly colleges, especially more elite colleges, but it needs to trickle down, are not using these scores because the scores in and of themselves are biased. They speak to a certain experience. Everybody does not have that experience. You ask Homie, what is a regatta? Homie don't know, because he doesn't know what a regatta is. I mean, these
so that ain't his thing.
Yeah, exactly. But if you ask Homie, you know, what is penny poker, he got it.
Well, I don't know what that is, but go on.
Well, my mama does.
I bet you know what a hoopty is.
Oh, yeah.
Thought so. All right.
That's not on the SAT, though.
I got you. I understand.
But more and more schools are saying you don't have to do this, and we need to really eliminate these schools. This is also a profit-making enterprise.
Oh, please.
And
Billions.
that's what we also underline.
Billions.
Profit-making enterprise.
Billions.
Benefits from discriminating.
Prep tests, preparation, all that sort. No, billions, billions of dollars. All right, folks, there's a new talk show on the horizon, and this one is going to involve educator and activist Dr. Steve Perry. That's right. Next week, Breakthrough with Steve Perry is going to get a 2-week audition in 8 cities across America. Take a look.
I'm Dr. Steve Perry. I'm a social worker, I'm an educator, I'm a motivator, and an author. I am living my dream, and what I think I do best is help other people live theirs. We as a community can make fantastic things happen. This is Breakthrough. A breakthrough is a point at which you look around and you think, oh, I get it now. I'm Dr. Steve Perry. You're going to see men and women uncover something inside them that they did not know existed. It's okay to be better. And I'm gonna be right here. It's not always gonna be nice, it's not always gonna be sweet. You're talking like a grown man, but you're living like a boy. But it is gonna be real. This is Breakthrough.
All right, folks, joining us right now is Dr. Steve Perry. Steve, what's up?
Chillin', my man. How you been?
All good. All right, so I'm going to bust somebody out. So M. Lewis on YouTube said, another talk show. How would you respond to M. Lewis?
Well, I don't know that I would respond to M. Lewis. That's part of the problem. We keep responding to trolls. But what I would do is I would say that we have an opportunity as an African-American community to have a presentation of solutions, to get to see what it is that we do in our real work as educators to help families work through issues and to make sure that when they work through issues that they come out better on the other side, that they don't just fix the problem that they're dealing with right now, but they fix the challenges that brought them to this place.
And so you previously had a show, Saving Our Sons. It aired on TV1. I was actually involved in one of those episodes, and you're absolutely right. It was a young man trying to help him who just wanted to do his own thing. And we were also contributors at CNN at the same time as well. And so you're an educator, but why go this media route? Why go the talk show route? Well, why do you want to make this happen? Because you've been working on this idea for several years.
Yeah, so the TV thing came to me. I'm an educator. I was at school today. I'll be at school tomorrow, which is Saturday. And if I have something to do at school on Sunday, I'll be there on Sunday. I'm about to pick some more students up who stay over my house with my sons because this is my life. But if I have the opportunity to take the platform and create opportunity for us to have conversations, I call it low-key ear hustle. That if I get to talk about kids and issues to a broader context of people, to a broader audience of people, I should say, I'm going to do it. I mean, we so often hear people say, educators should be the real stars. They should be the ones that we should be featuring. Okay, guess what? It's that time.
And so you are focusing on, obviously, a variety of issues, helping folks out. So this is not going to be an education talk show. So how would you describe it? I mean, are you dealing with multiple topics, folks from different areas, different issues?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we go from one end of the spectrum where I deal with a woman, her name is Casey, and Casey is a young mother who has 2 small children, and her husband just committed suicide about 16 months ago. And we talk about how it is that she's working through the loss of her husband, who she still refers to as her husband, despite the fact that he killed himself, and what that looks like in the real world. He was dealing with opioid addiction and had gotten caught stealing. He had a small business, and he got caught stealing from people in their community. And that messed him up pretty badly, more than the opioids. And then we go all the way to the other side. We have a sister who has 28 things that she wants a man to have, among which are big feet, the ability to lift her. She says she's 170 pounds, and nobody ever tells the truth about their weight. So she says she's 170 pounds. She wants to be a Vegas insider and have a small penis. So, right. Who knew that was a thing? So
I hear what I think I heard.
Okay. Wow, that's gonna be an interesting episode.
And a small penis.
But a big feet and a small dada.
Yes,
It's a cartoon character.
Doctor. Yes, doctor.
Yeah, so yeah. You trying to help her with a breakthrough, all right?
No, she need to get broke down behind that.
Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
And that's what it is. And so we have a conversation. And I tell her at one point, you know what, sister? Typically, I don't get to watch daytime TV, but I guess what they do is they bring out a guy and they say, well, we found someone for you. I ain't doing that because I'm going to get a lawsuit behind you. You're going to get somebody broken up for emotional distress. I'm not putting anybody in your life. What you need to do is recognize that you're in the best relationship in the world. Just be by yourself.
Ooh.
Well, somebody got to say it. Okay, so it's a 2-week test. You're in 8 cities. What are those 8 cities?
The cities are Los Angeles, Phoenix, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, Orlando, Houston, and Charlotte.
So it's going to be on the Fox stations in those particular markets. 2 weeks begins on next Monday?
7th, Monday, January 7th. Yeah, man.
All right, then. Well, Steve, good luck with it, man. And we'll be checking it out.
Well,
congratulations on what you're doing, Brother Roland. This is truly the most important thing that we have going for us in our community. I hope everybody watches Roland Martin Unfiltered, because you and I have talked about this for a long time. When they watch it, if they see nothing else, they are looking at a free black man, and that's a dangerous thing.
Yes, it is. Trust me, and it's even dangerous to even black people. All right, Steve, I appreciate it, bro. Thanks a bunch.
Peace.
All right, folks. I want you to check out the show on Monday. Of course, I'm going to have this author. He is Michael Twitty. He has a book. It is called The Cooking Gene, A Journey Through African-American Culinary History in the Old South. Trust me, many of you might have seen the Skip Gates documentary, and he was also featured in it. But he's put together this whole book. We had a great conversation earlier today, about a 45-minute conversation. And so we're going to stream the entire conversation on Monday. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We don't just deal with food. We deal with food. We go to the South. We go to Africa. We talk about the history of race in this country and the impact on black folks. It's a conversation, and trust me, you do not want to miss. Again, it's called The Cooking Gene, a journey through African-American culinary history in the Old South by Michael Twitty, winner of the James Beard Award for writing Book of the Year. And so we look forward to that. Folks, don't forget to support Roland Martin Unfiltered by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can join our Bring the Funk fan club. Our goal is very simple. We launched the show September 4th. We've had 1,106 people sign up for our Bring the Funk fan club. Our goal by September 4th, 2019 is to have a total of 20,000 of our fans who join our fan club. Every dollar that you actually get to join the fan club goes to make this show possible. We go on the road when we broadcast live. Yesterday we broadcast live stream the Congressional Black Caucus swearing in. No other black website was there. Nobody else. It was important for us to be there. We've got some great events we're going to be covering in 2019. On MLK Day, we're not going to be live on that day. We're going to actually be live streaming that day several interviews of lieutenants of Dr. King, interviews that I did over the last year. Again, some amazing interviews. You don't want to miss those. That only happens when we fund what is ours. It's independent. Don't nobody else own it. And so it's not controlled by anybody else. So go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. So we want folks to give an average of $50. If you got 20, 30, 5, 10, that's fine. It doesn't matter because we want you to be a part of this as well, folks. All right, so I want to thank Eugene, Julian, and Cleo as well. Don't forget, we're going to restream the show multiple times over the next 24 hours. You can also go subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And be sure to click live notification and make sure you get notified when we go live as well. All right, folks, y'all have an absolute fabulous weekend. I got to fly to LA tomorrow, but I'll be back on Sunday, so I'll see you guys here Monday, same time, same place. And you know we'll be getting in somebody's behind who absolutely deserves it. Y'all take care. Holla! Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.